What is good, all of our listeners? Welcome to an episode of Games and Groceries. My name is Adam.
I'm Liz.
And Sonic the Hedgehog is part of the Illuminati. I did not tell Liz what I was going to say because it's confirmed. Sonic the Hedgehog, part of the Illuminati. Don't at me.
You're right. I wouldn't have let you say that.
Exactly.
It's so stupid.
Well, I mean, what is the Illuminati? Is it like a club where they get free ice cream on Wednesdays?
Okay, so all the listeners need to understand that Adam literally says everything is part of the Illuminati. Like, I hear the word Illuminati at least once a week.
Well,
from Adam's mouth.
Loki's a part of the Illuminati. What is the Illuminati? Is it like triangle love? Shouldn't
you know if you're going to say everything's part of it?
I think you're part of the Illuminati.
Of course.
I think someone who is part of the Illuminati would say, like, you should know what the Illuminati is because that's how they get you to get free ice cream every Wednesday. So welcome to another episode of Games and Groceries. My name is Adam.
No, I'm not doing this again.
Oh, rats bananas. Liz, how you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I am excited.
For Life is Strange coming out this Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also scared of that, but I'm really excited for vacation.
Yeah. We're going to go on vacation to see my mom on Mama's Day.
Yeah.
And also the rest of the week.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we're pretty excited for that. Just to be back home in Central PA. So that'll be pretty nice. See my mama.
So excited.
Mama Games and Groceries.
Mama Games and Groceries.
Mama Games and Groceries. But yeah, so the next few episodes, though, like I said before, Life is Strange Season 2, Episode 3 is coming out this Thursday. We're going to record our thoughts. That's going to be Episode 49. But yeah, it actually looks pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it looks really good. Like, the graphics look better, in my opinion. Anyway, like, it's not, like, objective, but I think the graphics look much better. The story looks like it's going to be picking up. It's going to be, like, reaching its potential finally. So that's Episode 49, right? But Episode 50... which is May 20th. And I want to remind you every week that May 20th, our 50th episode, we're going to have an AMA, an Ask Me Anything, or Ask Us, an AUA, and Ask Us Anything, where you can just submit your questions to us, whatever you want. You can tweet at us using the hashtag GG50, or you can email us because I know some of our listeners aren't all on Twitter. So you can email your question to gamesandgroceries@gmail.com. So on episode 50, on May 20th, we're going to be answering as many questions as we can. We've got a lot of questions so far.
Mm-hmm.
We won't be able to answer all of them, but we're going to take the top few questions. Not the
top few, but we'll try and touch on as much as we can, answer as many as we can.
Yeah. Some questions we don't have an answer for.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. So there's still time. You got until May 20th. To submit your, I'll say May 19th, actually. May 19th to submit your questions. Yeah. And then we'll answer as many as you can. So, again, you can submit your questions to our Twitter using the hashtag GG50, or you can email us, gamesandgroceries@gmail.com.
Wow.
So, before we get into our first segment, which is Movie Minutes, we just want to shout out our social media pages. You can definitely follow us on Twitter at sorry about that. That's our Instagram. You can follow us on Instagram, Games and Groceries, all one word, but you can follow us on Twitter at Gaming Groceries. So you can follow us, all the updates that we make, but you can follow us individually. I'm at Ace the Grocer.
And I'm at Journey First.
So you can follow us individually, be friends with us, love us, give us all of your love. Or
talk to us.
Or talk to us. You have way more followers than I do.
I do, but they're mostly writers and authors and things that go along with being an author. There are some writers who are also gamers, and there are some just gamers. But yeah, most of them are authors. The writing community just kind of follows everyone.
Yeah, nobody loves me. And
if you're a writer, everyone in the writing community will just follow you.
Nobody loves me, so please give me some love on Twitter at Ace the Grocer. So that would be cool. And then finally, we'd like to shout out our website, gamesandgroceries.com. You can go on there. You can listen to all of our episodes from the website, and you can read articles. I want to submit at least one article per week. Even when I'm on vacation, I might snag out a quick article.
Yeah.
But the last article I wrote was about the Sonic the Hedgehog trailer and the conspiracy theory I have on that. But you can go ahead, read that on the website. So have fun with that, because I think it was a pretty good article.
Yeah, it was. It was a good article.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't cite anything. I just put on my aluminum hats and I just go, here we go. Conspiracy theory, Illuminati time.
Jeez.
Free ice cream on Wednesdays.
What?
I think that's the Illuminati.
No.
Pretty sure.
No.
So let's just jump into our first segment.
Movie Minutes.
Movie Minutes is a segment where we'd like to talk about the movies that we saw this past week, whether it be on Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, or in theaters, and we just want to discuss the movie, whether we recommend it to you or we don't recommend it to you. And this week, we caught up. We finally watched the movie John Wick 2. Now, we watched this movie on Amazon Prime. We rented it for $4, so if you're interested in this, that's where we found it. So let's get to it. 10 minutes on the clock. What do you think? Opening thoughts?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah?
While we were watching it, I said, I'm like, man, I always forget how much I like these movies.
Yeah.
It's because it's a second one, but like movies like that, because when we first started dating, I didn't watch action movies
Right.
at all.
Mm-hmm.
But you knowing that I like every movie I see, which I don't think we've ever told our listeners that. I tend to like every movie I see.
I'm trying to think of a movie that you really didn't like.
I really hated.
Yeah.
There's probably a couple. Like, if I hate a movie, you have to know it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But I always like some part of almost every movie I see.
Right.
So I did open my world up to action movies, and so but I still, it's not part of my natural sequence to be like, let's watch an action movie. So when, I'm sorry, the dog just wiped out. It was funny. But
I'm going through the past rankings that he gave. But keep going.
When we were watching John Wick 2, I was like, oh man, I always forget how much I liked it just because they're so like bam, 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 bam. And I just love it. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
I just love like the skill involved, like watching the skill of like not the actor, but the character and the actor. I just really enjoy it. So.
Yeah, I'll find that ranking later. I feel like there was a movie that we watched that you gave a pretty low ranking to. But yeah.
Captain Marvel.
You still gave it a 6.
Yeah.
I
don't think I've given a movie under a 5 yet.
Yeah. So my thoughts on this, and I wrote down some notes for this. So the intro to this movie isn't as emotional as the first film.
Yeah.
Whereas the first film, if you watched it, you watch the trailers, you know what it's about. John Wick, he comes out of basically retirement because they stole his car and they killed his dog. So now he's just like, that was the only thing I ever loved. And
okay, you're taking that way out of context. The dog was a gift.
Wait, whoa. Let's, just in case they haven't seen the first John Wick, which actually, if you're listening to our review of John Wick 2.
Exactly.
Sorry. Okay, you can spoil it.
But so you're taking it way out of context. First, his wife dies. We're talking about the first one. The first one, his wife dies.
Yeah.
And she knew she was dying, and she sent her husband a dog because she knew that he would need something to show love to and to love him back.
Exactly.
So when people come and kill his dog, he gets a little angry.
But that's the thing. Like, it's emotional. You feel for John Wick. I didn't want to, like, throw into the wife dying thing, but then I thought if you were listening to John Wick 2 right now, you're listening to our review, you probably already saw John Wick. Or you just like spoilers.
And it's in like the first 5 minutes of the movie. So it's not like it's really spoiling anything because it's not a major part of the movie. It's what makes the movie, but it's not a major point.
But you feel for John Wick, you feel for his struggle, whereas this one, it wasn't as emotional as the first film, and it wants to be action for action's sake.
But it was good. I liked the opening of this movie. I thought it was awesome.
See, I came in expecting... I don't know if I was expecting a lot or just expecting like the first film, but like I just felt like the first film caught lightning in a bottle. It was like the perfect action film for me.
I mean, it was. When we saw that they were making a John Wick 2, we were kind of annoyed because nowadays you see so many sequels to movies that just aren't necessary. They just make sequels now because they're like, oh, people love the first one. Let's make a second one because they'll come see it. Let's make some money. And so we tend not to be in favor of sequels.
Right. So this one was much more action oriented and like it was very and the next note I have, the tone of the movie rather than like a boogeyman assassin like have you heard of John Wick? Like this is like an urban legend kind of assassin.
Yeah.
The tone of this movie was more international spy assassin rather than like the boogeyman.
Yeah, I mean, but it did show his effect in that world.
Yeah.
Because they did refer to him as the boogeyman more. They did.
Not more than the first film.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But they did refer to his skill, and it showed where he stood in that world before he had retired. Like,
yeah.
You know, so I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that sequence.
Yeah, and like it wasn't even the sequence, it was just like the tone sets, you know, like and that's I think what threw me off is because I wanted more John Wick. I wanted more the boogeyman. Like I wanted more of like people fearing for him rather than like he goes in like almost like James Bond, like he goes into like the hotel and it's like, "Oh, Mr. Wick, what weapons would you like?" And like, "I need something robust." Or it's like the Matrix, like, "I need some guns." But,
see, I like that sequence.
And then like the tuxedo part where they like inlaced it. It just felt very James Bond rather than John Wick.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I do have to agree that like before it was people fearing him.
Yeah.
And now it's not so much.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because of who he's fighting, I'm not going to give that away.
Yeah.
But and there were some fight sequences that I even said to you when we were watching, I'm like, all right, this is going on too long.
Yeah.
Like, all right. Like, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
It, like, I understood what they were trying to say, but it was going on a little too long. It was losing my attention.
There was one scene, like the first assassination, where I was just like, it made me like super uncomfortable.
Oh my gosh, that was hilarious to watch, Adam.
I was just like,
but
what are you doing?
But that has nothing to do with the movie. That's because you're squeamish.
I'm not squeamish. It's just like, it was weird.
It wasn't weird.
It was so weird. Like I just kept watching. I'm not going to spoil it, but I just kept.
I was going to say, I can explain it to you, but I can't on air. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I can't spoil it, but it's like the first assassination, and it's just like, what are you doing? Stop it. Stop. It was just like, so.
I think that has a lot to do with you being squeamish.
I don't like, I don't know. Like, I can't explain it, what I'm squeamish about.
So when you see the movie, keep in mind, Adam can't watch medical shows. We're just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm not squeamish against blood or violence. I'm squeamish against like medical blood, like
he can't watch Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, it's like stop it.
Like every time I'm watching Grey's Anatomy and he looks down and they're in a surgery, he's like, "What are you watching?"
Yeah, it's like ugh. My final note on the film though is because the enemy wasn't really the enemy was never really clear. Like there was some multitude of different enemies, and I was thinking that like maybe this guy's gonna he's gonna turn out the good guy, kind of like Willem Dafoe's character. I don't know, the ending wasn't really as satisfying as the first film because the enemies were never really set. There was no big real twist in the film.
Yeah, I mean their antagonist was like the main antagonist was pretty clear. It was just that they weren't a huge antagonist.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't someone like, oh my god, they're so evil. Like go get them.
And the twist in the film was kind of like, oh no, that was
good. I liked that.
That was it was an okay twist.
It shocked me.
Yeah. Are we on the same page?
It did and it didn't.
Yeah, I don't want to say if we're on the same page or not. Yes. Oh no, not that twist.
Oh
no, I'm just talking about. Okay, we can't say it on air.
Sorry, we're trying not to do spoilers, but after you go watch it, or if you want to know, just talk to us on Twitter. And
please.
We'll tell you.
This is the hardest part because like it's not very spoilery movie. It's just very like it's just not quite clear what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
Versus the first John Wick movie was very structured, very clear of the motives.
Yeah. Are you talking about the ending twist?
No, like the mid twist where we'll talk about it off air. But yeah, it was it just wasn't clear to me what the motive was for this movie.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
What the purpose is for this movie. And it really didn't have any purpose other than to be like, pow, pow, John Wick.
Yeah.
John Wick is now international spy. Pew, pew. All right, so in the final minute, let's just talk about our final rankings. Why don't you go for yours?
Mine was a 7.
Mm-hmm.
I was torn, I think, between, what was it?
7 or a 7.5 or a 7 or an 8?
Yeah, I remember I was torn. I gave it a 7 because it was a good movie. I
7 is a
thoroughly
decent
enjoyed
movie.
it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It wasn't a waste of time.
Yeah.
There were just some things, like I said, the fight scene went on too long.
Yeah.
And
The fight scene between him and Common.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like there even some other ones like every time he fought Common, it was
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
It was a long fight, and I just lost that interest every time. Like the second fight they got into, I stopped paying attention. I was like, this is gonna go on forever.
Yeah.
So it just wasn't as interesting. That had a lot to do with.
Mm-hmm.
It was those fight scenes, and it just, like you said, it wasn't the same John Wick. Like even his personality was different.
Yeah.
He didn't he had the drive, but at the same time he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's why it wasn't the same person. Like it wasn't the same John Wick, and the fight scenes just took forever.
Exactly. I'm just going to quickly go over my ranking. I gave it a 6.5. I only gave it a 6.5 because it wasn't just above average, because a 6 is, above average, and then 7 is a decent film. I think this was just a little bit above average, I guess. But
Yeah.
to me, it wasn't a decent film because it didn't really have a purpose or a drive.
Yeah.
If this was a standalone film, I might have given it a 7.5.
Yeah, but since it was a sequel, you knew
I
you
had
thought
expectations.
you knew what you were expecting. Yeah.
Yeah, I have expectations for sequels because it's a direct sequel.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's a new IP. It's a new character, but this just didn't really have a purpose. But I did hear good reviews about John Wick 3, which we're going to go see in theaters.
Yes.
But that's why we wanted to see John Wick 2. But this one just didn't really have any purpose for me. Not like the first one.
I'm curious of what John Wick 3 is going to be about, because the ending of John Wick 2, I was like, okay,
Yeah, like
we could do
game
something
over.
with that.
And then John Wick 3, I'm like, okay. So that was our final thoughts. Not a waste of time.
No, definitely not.
Not a waste of time.
I definitely suggest renting it. It's worth the rental fee.
And you don't really need to see the first John Wick, honestly.
No, not
You don't-
really.
you don't
because
need
they
to.
kind of explain it in the intro of John Wick 2.
Yeah,
Like they kind of tell you what happened.
exactly. So yeah, it's not a waste of time. It's just these are our thoughts. You can go with it as you will. So, but I think this is a good time to jump to our second segment.
Top 3 Gaming News.
The top 3 gaming news is the gaming news that we saw this past week, and we ranked it 3, 2, 1 just to keep you informed of what's going on in the gaming industry. So let's just jump into our number 3 in the top 3 gaming news. Investors, if you remember the Madbox, investors are pulling out of Slightly Mad Studios console called the Madbox. If you remember the Madbox, it was supposed to be this new console that was gonna rival the next Xbox, the PlayStation 5. It was said to be like really powerful, the most powerful. They never really claimed it was the most powerful system. It was really weird. The design was very futuristic. They had a lot of components in it. But just this past week, 2 major investors have pulled out from Madbox. And marketing director Nathan Bell says the studio, or the announcement of Stadia is to blame for all this, because Google came out saying that what's the word, streaming video games was the future. Like, everything's gonna be streaming. The next Xbox is gonna have the X Cloud, all these cloud gaming. So investors are seeing this like, consoles aren't the future. We should pull out of this. And that's what Nathan Bell is talking about. Slightly Mad Studios also withdrew their application to trademark the name Madbox because of a French games company, also by the name Madbox, opposed it. They never really said that they were going to sue them. It's just that when they put in their application, the French game studios just said, hey, we're also Madbox and you're also a video game company, so it's going to create some confusion, so maybe don't do that.
Yeah.
There's no confirmation if the studio's console is canceled, but they really need to reroute it fast.
Yes.
So they're like saying like, hey, so Madbox isn't the name, so we're going to rename it. We're working on it. I'm like, you need to do that quick and get
I thought of a really good name.
What's the new name?
Site Case.
What?
Site case. So, because like I feel like if you add box, it's too much like Xbox.
Well, that's what I said originally.
So I was like, all right, what's like on the same line though? Site case.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I would buy that just for the name.
Site case?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, like, here's the thing. With any kind of name, it doesn't matter what the name is. It's all about it's all about brand recognition.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times people ask us, games and groceries, why games and groceries? And we'll answer that in the AMA. That's one of our questions. But to give you a short answer, it really doesn't matter what your name is. It's just about getting brand recognition. Mm-hmm. Think about the name Pepsi. Like Pepsi is just like a stupid name. Like let's say,
stupid name.
Like let's say Pepsi never existed, and your friend comes up with like, "Hey, I got this cola company. It's gonna be massive. What do you think? What's the name of it? Pepsi." Okay. Even Coca-Cola makes sense, but Pepsi.
Coca-Cola made sense when it was made. Let's put it that way. It doesn't make sense so much now, but it makes sense for when it was made.
But it's all about brand recognition, though.
It is, yeah.
So I kind of feel bad for Slightly Mad because they look like they had a lot of hope for the system. They said that this was going to be their future, and now they're stuck making car games, Project Cars. Oh no.
Yeah, they tried to go above their expectations.
Yeah, and it's just I
want to see them succeed. I do.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in what a brand new system would look like. Because with the PlayStation and the Xbox and even Nintendo, they've been around for a long time. To see a brand new company come out with their first station, as opposed to all these companies who already have established companies in the
market, in the industry,
So
and it's just I think it would be much more difficult today just because I'm currently reading the book or listening to the book, audiobook.com. We're not sponsored. But I'm listening to the book Console Wars between Sega and Nintendo, and Sega coming into the mix trying to compete with Nintendo. And now when Xbox or first PlayStation came out and then Xbox came out, what's interesting is that like the industry was still kind of new to the mainstream. It was still kind of like a kid thing. It was very teenager. Plus, when the Xbox came out, it was the early 2000s with like Mountain Dew and Babes and bleh.
Yeah, like that was a really good time for Xbox to come out.
Whereas today, it's much more established. Gaming is much more in the mainstream. You have your consoles. I'm not saying it's impossible.
No, but I would be really interested in seeing it. If they made it, I would consider buying it just to support someone trying something new.
Exactly.
And someone trying to go above expectations.
But for now, they have investors pulling out of it. Like they're just saying like, no, I think I'll take my money somewhere else, maybe to like something that's going to be cloud gaming. And they need to rework a name, but they better work pretty quick. But I'm still going to follow them. They never said that's canceled, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's number 3. Let's move on to number 2, which a lot of people, oh boy, a lot of people are talking about. Number 1, not a lot of people are talking about, but we'll get to that. Number 2, okay, all right. What's up, Tim Sweeney? How you doing? By the way, I just not just beat, but I just replayed Gears of War 2, and I was watching the credits, and I see Tim Sweeney's face on there. I'm like, there you are. What's up, Tim? Epic Games buys Psyonix, the studio behind Rocket League, and may take it away from Steam. Oh, man. Tim, what are you doing? So the deal is official. Like, it's officially complete. It's in pen by the end of May and will come to Epic in late 2019. Rocket League will still be supported on Steam, that they say, but it's still not confirmed as an Epic exclusive. They still haven't said it out loud. But Psyonix writes, we believe bringing Rocket League to a new audience with more support is a win for everybody. We believe Rocket League to new audiences.
I would like to get through a week without having to talk about Epic.
I know, like, here's the thing. It's just, I don't have any problem with you buying a studio, right? Like, Microsoft is doing that.
Yeah.
Like, but with Epic's track record where...
He's being a child.
Yeah. He honestly is. It's just like, he's going for the big guns here, because I know a lot of people are super invested in Rocket League, especially on Steam. Like I know a kid like from our youth group who's put in like well over 2,000 hours of Rocket League on Steam.
Isn't that what he plays?
No, he plays League.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind then.
Yeah, he plays League. And that's the thing. There's many people invested on Steam. And it's one thing to take away games that are coming to Steam, but it's another thing to like take away a game that's well established in the Steam ecosystem. So Tim is just like saying like, okay, if you won't match developers, we're going to rob you of your game. And here's the thing. I don't blame Psyonix for taking this, because even they said, we believe bringing Rocket League to new audiences will, with more support, with more financial support. Here's the problem I have with that statement, though. So I don't blame Psyonix for taking this deal. But the problem I have is that we believe bringing Rocket League to new audiences, it's still PC gaming.
Yeah,
it's the same audience.
Not a new audience.
That's the same audience. The new audience is on Switch. When he brought it over to Switch, that's a new audience.
Yeah, that's a new audience. Putting it on consoles, that's a new audience.
But you're saying that like, oh, you know, because nobody with a PC can honestly have both Epic and Steam. That's impossible. So we're going to bring it to the people who are fans of the Epic Games Store.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
It's still a PC. So what are you talking about? Like, it makes zero sense.
Yeah.
So if they just ended with like, hey, listen, bring it over to a platform that gives us more support, but they had to add in new audiences, and that's what bothered me the most. What do you think about all this?
Like I said, I would like to get through a week without having to talk about Epic Games Store. I don't even know what to say about it anymore. It's just so much like they're just being children. Like, it's not
Tim Sweeney's being a child. Yeah,
he's not buying companies because he wants to make Epic Games Store better.
Yeah,
he's buying companies to be like, hey, it's mine now. Like,
exactly.
He's being a child, and like if he was buying companies and doing all these things to better his game store online or on the PC, like that would be fine. Like, I'd be fine with that. Yeah, build your company, make it better. But you're just taking companies and forcing people and holding them hostage on your game store and not making your game store any better. Like, you're getting all this money coming in from people playing these games on your store, but you're not using that money for good. You're just using it to take more companies from gamers. Yeah. Like, just make your game store better and people will want to play games on they'll ask their companies that they play, like that they play their games to, they'll ask them like, hey, can you guys get on Epic Game Store so I can play your games? Because I really prefer to play on that. Like, make your game store better, and then people will want your games, like games on that store. Exactly.
And that's the thing. It's just so this whole situation is so stupid, and I agree with you. Like, I want to go through a week where I don't see on Twitter. It's like, I remember when I first saw the story on Twitter, it's like, oh, Epic buys Psyonix, and I was like, oh my goodness, I don't care. Like, I really don't have an opinion, but my only opinion was Psyonix statement where they said to new audiences.
That's not new audience.
Same audience, Psyonix. It's the same audience, except you're screwing over the new audience.
Yeah, you're making the players who played you on Steam. Yeah. Now you're making them play on a worse platform.
Yeah, like, fantastic. But again, I'm not putting Psyonix on a blame here, because if I was in their shoes and I needed more support.
Yeah, money's money.
Money's money. Like, you need to make a living. You want to make your game so much better than it is. In fact, like, if Epic wanted to buy this podcast, I don't know, just like more support there. I don't know.
I have a feeling after what we've said about Epic, they're not buying our podcast.
There's just going to be a hostile takeover. That's all. You didn't silence your phone.
I didn't. It's CVS.
But, yeah, so that's all really we have to say about the whole matter. But not to blame Psyonix, more to blame on Epic. And I think with their PR statement, we believe bringing Rocket League to new audiences, that's just a PR statement. They don't really mean that because they know the situation. Right? Yeah. So let's finally get to our number one gaming news. So this one I didn't know about. Nobody's talking about this. Not anybody. I only saw this on a Hulu commercial, right? And I was just like, ooh, that's really not going to be a good thing. So I see this commercial called Adventure Academy, right? And it's by the same makers of ABC Mouse, right?
Yes, and I've seen commercials for ABC Mouse on regular cable TV.
Yeah, and that's it's the same makers. I know about ABC Mouse, but then like Adventure Academy, it's like, oh, it's so great. It's like for middle schoolers, basically.
Yeah, it's for like fifth
elementary
grade,
and
5 to 12.
Yeah,
like grades, 5th grade to 12th grade.
No, it's not for 12th grade. No.
I remember they said high school.
No way.
I'm pretty sure. I'll look it up.
Yeah, go for it. But I also have a statement from the creator. So like I see this commercial and it's like it's an MMO RPG basically. No, it's just an MMO. There's no RPG elements where you get to learn different things. And I'm like, ooh, an MMO where people chat with you. That's not going to end well. There's too many creeps on the internet where
Oh, it's kids 8 to 12.
Yeah, 8 to 12.
I was thinking grades, not
No.
8 so ages 8 to 12 is Adventure Academy.
Yeah, so I looked this up and I'm just like, okay, this is not going to end well. An MMO where kids are online chatting with strangers, that's not going to end well.
Oh, here's a new thing that we didn't know. It's $10 a month.
I already knew that. Yeah.
I didn't know that. They didn't say that in the commercial.
So let me get to why this is newsworthy, right? You might be saying like, oh, great, a new game. So I looked this up and I'm just like, okay, I'm trying to research this just to say like, okay, what kind of parameters are they doing this? What kind of security measures are they putting in? 2 names pop up. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce his name right. I'm so sorry. I'm not good with names. But Kevin Beardsley and Alex Galvani, right? Kevin Beardsley, who is one of the original creators for World of Warcraft, and Alex Galvani, who is one of the creators for Lord of the Rings Online, are the lead developers on this game. And I'm just like, what? Like, this is insane. So this is actually described as a AAA MMO providing immersive learning adventure and an ever-expanding virtual world. And I just want to read a quote from you from one of the creators from the company. I can't remember what the company's name is. Oh, Age of Learning. Age of Learning. Our sole focus at Age of Learning is to help children build a strong foundation for academic success, says Doug, Doring, I guess, co-founder and CEO of Age of Learning. Our outstanding team has executed on this mission for many years, developing highly engaging and effective educational programs that early learners enjoy and the families and teachers trust. Finally, he says, Adventure Academy allows us to now meet parents' demands to bring a learning to life for older students during the critical elementary and middle school years. So this is a safe social elements, and it's going to be including filtered chat functionality and parent control chats. And for 3 years, apparently, Beardsley and Galvani led a team to create the AAA experience, and it's released on May 1st. So not only are they trying to put in these parameters to give like children like a really awesome MMO, but they're bringing in like people from the industry. This isn't just some like tech nerd from this is not some graduate student like saying like, this is his first job. These are like one of the creators of World of Warcraft and Lord of the Rings Online. So what do you think of this?
Oh man. I mean, even I wasn't a huge fan of their first thing that they released, ABC Mouse.
ABC Mouse, yeah.
But that's for personal reasons. As far as this online aspect of Adventure Academy, because like we had growing up, we had Leap into Learning, or not?
Yeah.
No, not Leap into Learning. That was my little sister's age group.
Jumpstart? Yeah,
we had Jumpstart. We had those CD-ROM games that we would put in, and they had one for each grade. We had preschool, we had first, second, third, through. I think they even had it all the way through 12th grade. Yeah. They had, games that you can play to help learn, and they were fun to play, but you also learned while you're doing it, which is fine. It's that fact that this is online and these kids can talk to. It's one thing they can talk to each other. Great, whatever, that's fine. But it's when we were watching it, you had pointed out like, so
like creeps can get online.
Creep online can go join because now there's a whole website full of children for him to talk to.
Yeah,
that's the disturbing part because they can say, well, no, you have to put in your birthday to prove that you're 12.
Come on.
Like that's not a parameter. Do you know how many kids our age would fake their age to get onto MySpace and Facebook?
You know what's the sad part though? here's the really sad part, and I pulled out this idea really quickly because as soon as I saw like the creator of World of Warcraft and Alex Gavani, I was like, ooh, maybe I should check it out and like see what they're doing. I'm like, no. That
Yeah, I thought it too. I'm like, I would really like to go on this website and actually see what it's like, but I'm just like, but then
I'm the enemy.
Yeah, and then I'm the reason why I don't like it.
Like, why are you here, sir? I just wanted to see what's on here. Creep.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, so this is really cool though. I can appreciate this.
I appreciate the idea, but I don't think they need to be talking to their friends when they're doing it. Like, there is a way to share your scores and everything with your friends without having it open to conversation and everything. Like,
yeah, and I don't know how this is going to be like an educational MMO. That to me is just kind of like, I don't understand like what you're trying to do there. But these are really like titans in the industry. So it's because of that I'm just like, okay, I may not understand it, but these people do.
Yeah.
You know, so it's weird.
Yeah.
It's out there. It released on May 1st. Please don't go on it. Like if you're our age, please don't go on it.
Yeah.
Cause but yeah, I'm just gonna keep my eye on it. Maybe like I wonder if they have Twitter. I might like brush on their Twitter just to see like any updates that happen. So, but it's just interesting to follow.
Yeah.
And like I said, they're describing it as a AAA MMO experience with an ever expanding virtual world. So we'll see where this goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you do have kids and you're letting them go on it, I would just say keep an eye on it, just like you would do any other time they're online.
Yeah, true that. But you think it's a good time to go into our final segment?
Sure.
Let's just finally have our
coffee time.
So every single week, we like to have a question or a topic from the gaming industry, just to have a simple little discussion, conversation of, what we think about the topic or question.
Good job.
Thank you. This week, we're talking about the case for short games, short story games. So let's first define what our short game is. So I wrote down in my notes that short games can be 2 to 25 hours long and can be concentrated story experiences. Now, the reason why I say 25 is like 25 is like, okay, you kind of had the cutoff, but like realistically, I think 20 is the border, and then 25 is just like,
Whenever I thought of short, I always thought of the ones that only took you like 4 hours to finish. But when we were talking earlier, I was like, I guess if it only took you 3 days to beat, that's not bad.
Yeah.
But thinking in adult standards, how many adults have 3 days in a row to devote to playing a game?
Well, it's not 3 days in a row. You don't have to beat it in a week. But like I would say 15 hours is still a short game, because think about that. 15 hours, you can, if you're like a really busy adult, like right now I'm playing Thimbleweed Park, and according to howlongtobeat.com, which I highly recommend. I always check that website before I buy a game. And I was like, how much investment do I have to put in this? And I'll type in how long to beat. And if it says like 15 hours, I'm like, oh yeah, dope, let's do this. Because then you can do incremental stuff, but so you're saying that like a short game for you is like maybe 10 hours tops.
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't say that 20. I think 20 hours is long, because if we're going by hours, which as an adult you kind of have to, because you can only play for maybe an hour at a time. Yeah. Hours wise, I think 20 hours is too much. I would say 10 to 15, and 15 is stretching it.
Yeah, I only say 25 because like whenever I see a game like it takes 25 hours to beat, I'm like, that's like, it might be like a medium game.
Yeah, and you have to think about like, you have more patience with games. Yeah. So you can play for a longer period of time, whereas for me, like, I'm good to play for like a good hour and a half, 2 hours. Yeah. After that point, I'm just like, all right, I'm done playing this today. Yeah. I can play Sims for 5 hours.
Which you did yesterday.
Yes, I did. Yeah. But a regular game, like we were playing Vampire. Yeah. And I was after, what was it, like an hour and a half, 2 hours?
About 2 hours.
About 2 hours. I was like, all right, I'm done for today. Yeah. Like, it's not like it's hard. It's just a lot of mental.
Exactly. Stuff. And as well, I'll get to that in a minute. But as adults, shorter games are just.
Yeah, shorter games are just. more appealing when you don't have as much time to commit.
Yeah. So now that we have our, let's agree, like the middle ground, say like 10 to 15 hours is like the cutoff.
Yeah.
Like it can be 2 to 15 hours as a short game.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the cutoff for us. So that's our definition right now. But here's the thing though. The beauty about short games though, that 2 to 15 hour mark, short games can also leave you unsatisfied. Like I wrote down an example, Gone Home. I don't care. This is my opinion. I'm sorry, but I do care about your opinion. You're valued to me. You're an awesome human being. How you doing?
Anyway.
So Gone Home left me very unsatisfied.
Yeah.
Like you get to the end, and I'm not going to spoil it at all. You get to the end, and you see their credits rolling. I'm like, that was it? That was the solution?
Yeah.
And like sleeping on it, I was just like, okay, I see where you were going. You're trying to like build me up to think that like something's bigger than it's not.
But I feel like that's also could be why you were unsatisfied. I don't think it mattered how long or short that game was.
Yeah.
It was that the ending wasn't satisfactory to you.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like if it was 3 hours of like work.
Yeah. It was a walking sim.
Yeah, exactly. So if it was a different, I just feel like that wasn't your game. I don't think that was because of the length. I think that was because that just wasn't your game.
And that's the thing, like, but that's the thing. It was 3 hours though, and that's what I wrote in my notes. Like, it wasn't satisfying, but it didn't invest so much time.
Yeah,
where it was just like, that's what I built up to. But like,
you didn't spend days, trying to beat this game, and it was for nothing. And
plus, I got it for free on games with gold.
Yeah.
So you
didn't even waste money on it.
I didn't even waste money on it. So like, I was unsatisfied, but it wasn't like
disappointed.
Mad. I wasn't disappointed. I wasn't even mad because I only invested 3 hours, didn't invest any money. You know? So, that's the beauty about short games though, is that if you have an unsatisfying ending, it's not like you invested all of your time with it. So I think that's just what's really good about short games versus like really long games, and you get to the end and it's just like, my goodness. Like I'll say that Red Dead Redemption 2, I'm not going to spoil the ending, but it took me 60 hours with maybe 5 side quests. It took me 60 hours to beat the main story. It took me a month straight. Like I played that game for a month, and I got to the end and I was just like, okay. Like it wasn't a bad ending. It was just kind of like, yep, that's the ending.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And I just kind of felt like, I don't want to say empty either. That's a bit like, it's a bit much. It left me empty inside, a hole in my heart. But just left me like, okay, that was a waste of 60 hours. I might replay it again, but that's the other part I want to jump into.
Yeah.
Like talking about Red Dead Redemption 2, like I might replay it. I might go back to it, but 60 hours I have to invest again.
Yeah.
Whereas the other beauty of a short game is that short games allow you to have more replayability, which you can argue gives more value to the game. Without exaggerating, how many times have I played Oxenfree?
I was about to bring that up.
How many times?
10. I'm gonna be nice and say 10.
That's really nice.
I know.
You're so kind to me.
I don't want to go over, but I'm not always home when you play it. Because I'm not.
I know.
A lot of times you play it when I'm at work, and I don't even know you. Like last time we talked about this, I gave a low number, and you were like, "No, it's way more than that." And I was like, "I'm at work usually when you play, so you can play it like 2 times over while I'm at work." So
really, honestly, yeah. But that's the thing. Like, it allows more replayability, so that if you didn't understand the ending, you can go right back into it and just say like, "Okay, I didn't get it the first time. Maybe if I play it, I don't know, like 25 more times, like I did in Oxenfree, 26." Because,
but it does give it that replayability because it allows you to have time to play it again.
Exactly. I can just come right back to it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there's some games there's even some short games that I'll never go back to just because, it's not really worth it to me. Like I just played Dear Esther on Monday or last Monday. Or whenever I played it. I forget when I played it.
It was a couple weeks ago, actually.
Boo-boo.
It was a couple weeks ago.
No, because it was this past week. I can't remember what day it was. But
you played it.
I played it. That's all that matters. Thursday. I played it on Thursday.
Okay.
Because Thursday's my day off. But yeah, I played Dear Esther, and it was a short game. It took me about an hour and 15 minutes to beat it. And I was just like, yeah, that was nice. And just kind of like left it as that. And I also listened to the Greatest Story Ever Played podcast on it. And, you know, I started to understand a little bit more. I'm like, that was great. But if I really want to go back to it, it was only an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah. That's really short.
That's less than a movie.
It is.
Honestly. And it's just like, it allows you to go back and just say, like, I didn't understand it. Maybe I can play it again over and over and over again and just really enjoy the story plot to it. Whereas like longer games, it's just like, I really do want to make different choices. I want to make different like choices in my RPG elements, but it's just like, oh, do I have to invest that much time into it?
That's where I am with Until Dawn.
Yeah.
I would love to play that again. But it takes so much time.
Yeah, how long did you think that was? That was maybe a 20-hour game?
Yeah, something like that. I know that was one game that I like actually got obsessed with, and I played that.
Yeah. Until Dawn, how long to beat? We're just going to 12 hours. Really?
Yeah, I was actually going to say, when you said 20, I was like, I think it was more like 10.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like, even 12 hours to you is kind of like, meh, you know. That's...
Yeah, like, to me, I was like, because for me, where I don't, like I said, I can't invest a long period of time. I can only play for an hour or two at a time. 12 hours is a lot. Yeah. For someone who works.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have, that's for 1 to 2 hours a day. That's 6 days.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, when I work full-time ministry, I don't have time to, like, I really want to replay Skyrim for the 10th time. But I really want to go back to Skyrim again. And that's the other thing. Oh, not even Skyrim. I just signed up for Game Pass, right?
Oh my gosh, his head exploded.
I know. And I was
He was having literal anxiety about playing all these games. He's like, what if I play them and I really like having Game Pass and then we have to buy it again? He's like, well, I'm never gonna finish these games. He's like, I have so many games to play. Like, he was having so much anxiety about how happy he was to have Game Pass.
It was so
he was scared to like Game Pass.
Because I got the 3 months for $1, right? And I was just like, you know what? Why not? Because Vampire, I haven't played Vampire yet. And it was on sale for $15, but it was on Game Pass. And I can have 3 months of Game Pass for $1. So I was just like, why not just do that? And if I like Vampire, then I'll buy it, right?
Yeah.
So I got the 3 months for $1, and I looked through the game list, and I was like, oh my goodness, there's so many good games on here.
He was like freaking out. He's like, oh my gosh, it's this. Oh my gosh, they have this. Oh man, they have this. Like, it was so funny. Oh my gosh.
And like, but I get so anxious if I can't beat a game, you know, like, because I want to finish the story. I want to, but with full-time ministry, it's just, I don't have as much time as I want to.
Yeah.
Right. But thankfully, short games give you that short burst that you can replay it. You can really enjoy it. And it's not like too long of an investment in it. I can play it on my day off.
Yeah.
And I have some, a list here of some really good modern short games, because there's plenty of, we can go back to retro games where retro games like took 8 hours tops, right? Yeah. But some modern ones, right, that if it's your day off, like I usually do, like Mondays and Thursdays are usually my day off. Thursdays mostly.
Yeah, today we have a lot of things to do. We have a lot of stores to go to, and then got chores to do, and
so Thursday's really my gaming day. But once, you know, Oxenfree. Oh no, Oxenfree, that's on my list. So Oxenfree, Hue. If you haven't played Hue, you're not my friend.
That is also on Game Pass now.
Yeah.
Which
like,
also made Adam very happy.
Yeah, because I have it on PC, and I really want to play on my Xbox with the 4K TV and the Xbox One X. And I know, I have a 4K monitor, but I want to play on my Xbox. That's all.
And our TV screen's bigger than your computer screen.
Yeah, and it's also a 1060 GPU. So, but anyways, but yeah, so there's Hue. I'm just kidding. You can be my friend if you haven't played Hue. But honestly, if you haven't played Hue, you're not my friend.
Oh my goodness.
There's also the Turing test, which is almost like a modern day Portal. I think I described it as. Turing test was really no, it wasn't Portal. Maybe it was Portal. I can't remember. But I remember I really enjoyed Turing test. Like, that was a really good short game, and I think that was 4 to 5 hours. What Remains of Edith Finch. an amazing story. Like, it's a very good walking sim, but it's a walking sim that revolutionizes the genre, in my opinion. It's the best of the best in terms of walking simulators. Definitely go play that. That's on Game Pass. Just letting you know. Tacoma. So Tacoma's like, that's coming to Game Pass, I believe, too. For anybody on Game Pass.
Oh my goodness.
But I also played Tacoma on PC too. And I love Tacoma because Tacoma is from the same makers as Gone Home. And I was like, okay, I'm not expecting too much, but I loved Tacoma. I played that game 3 times. So I beat it the first time, and then I beat it a second time just to understand the story. And then I watched it again with a director's commentary. And it was just so worth it. If you ever have the chance to play Tacoma, if any on these games that you should play, I definitely recommend Tacoma because it's very sci-fi-esque. It's like Prey, but with less anxiety, I'll say. So Tacoma's really good. The Swapper, Firewatch, Abzu. Abzu's from the same creators as Journey. So these are really good modern afternoon playthrough games. And there's so many more I can list out here. But these are some really good examples where you can just go on. They're cheap. That's the other thing. Short games like this, like Hue, I think is $15 normally. Hue is a really fun game. Tacoma is a really fun game. Tacoma's, I think, $20. And these are really short games that you can have in short bursts, and you can have a lot out of them. The last couple things we want to say is that we brought this up before with being adults, and we have less time. We're full-time workers. But with less time on our hands as adults, the best kinds of games are short ones because we're more comfortable just like saying like, okay, I can invest my time into this.
Yeah.
Like when I found out, what am I playing? Thimbleweed Park. Yeah, Thimbleweed Park. When that was 11 hours, I'm like, oh, I can totally play that. And I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for you, if I were to put out like, hey, this game is 30 hours long, would you be willing to play it?
I would be willing, but it's gonna take me a long time to do it. Like when was like we haven't played The Last of Us since February because I've been so busy. I just haven't been in the mental state to get back into playing it.
Right.
And that's, you know, a decent length game.
Yeah. I would say that's 25 hours.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah.
I wouldn't know because I haven't finished it yet. But
yeah.
Yeah, it's like those games, it's like I want to play them. Like I have games in my backlog. Like I still have to finish This Is Us. I have to or The Last of Us.
15 and a half hours.
Why are all my games so short and feel so long?
I know.
I feel like we've already invested 15 hours into this game.
Right.
But I still have to finish The Last of Us. I have to finish Beyond Two Souls, and I have to play Detroit. I haven't even started Detroit.
No.
I'm so sorry, people. I did watch a playthrough. I do know how Detroit is played.
But you just want to make your own choices.
Yeah. No, I'm just letting people know that it's not like I'm like late to the game. I've watched it be played. We just didn't get a PlayStation till after the fact.
Right.
But I really, really, really like Detroit is part of the reason why I wanted a PlayStation. I want to play that game so bad. But I want that to be the last one I play. I want to finish everything and then solely focus on Detroit. Yeah. So.
And that's the thing, like with short games, you're more comfortable having multiple amounts of them. Yeah. You know, like, and that's what I would rather have. I would rather have a multiple amounts of short games, like these 2 to 15-hour games, rather than just a really long game like Red Dead Redemption 2 or Skyrim, where I'm only invested in one game and I get anxious because I haven't beaten it yet. Yeah,
where you're just like, all right, I really want to play my other games, but I need to finish this first. It's like, is this going to be done yet? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. But with short games, you can just play like one a week if you wanted to, which that's what the Story Ever Played podcaster does. Yeah. But if you haven't listened to his podcast yet, or Good Game, Great Game, you know, they're both story games podcasts, so definitely go check them out. But because we're grown adults, we don't have as much time on our hands as much as I want to. Yeah. If I was and here's the thing, there's so many games releasing that now if I had Game Pass when I was a teenager, I would freak out. Like my head would explode. Yeah. Like I would fail all my classes, except I already did.
I was going to say.
But Yeah, I wasn't too hot in school.
You
Nonetheless,
didn't fail.
I failed my freshman year in
Okay.
both high school and college.
You didn't fail your freshman year of college.
I
You
did.
didn't- Oh,
Yeah,
I thought
that's-
it was because you changed your major.
No.
And because you failed.
No. Dang.
Well, not fail, but like because you failed some classes.
Yeah.
And because you changed your major. Anyway.
Yeah. So final thoughts on this. It's not to say that long games are bad. We're not against having longer
Yeah.
games. It's just that when we don't have as much time in our hands and we want to experience
Yeah.
as many worlds as we wanted.
Short games are more attractive.
Exactly. If you gave me a game, honestly, I would ask you like, well, how long does it take to beat? Like if you recommended a game to me,
Yeah.
I would be like, how long does it take to beat? And if you say, oh, it's an always online game, it's Fallout 76. And I would say, get that garbage out of my face. But if you said like, oh, it only takes like 8 hours, I would be like, okay, I'm more inclined to play it.
Yeah.
Just because I don't have as much time as I want to, right? Like I haven't touched Division 2 in like a couple weeks. Just because it's always online. It's a longer story. Whereas I want to play Thimbleweed Park, where it's a short burst, funny game.
Yeah.
And you should play Hue. That's all I'm going to say. You should play Hue.
You talking to me or the listeners?
Both, actually.
I'm not playing Hue.
You have to play Hue.
I'm not playing Hue.
Hue.
No. Unless you want our TV screen to break.
Why?
Because I threw the controller at it.
No.
I'm not
It's so
playing Hue.
easy.
Also, I get migraines and I don't want to play Hue.
Hue. The Hue soundtrack is so gorgeous. I love it. Just go on the main menu of Hue and just chill with that for 10 hours. You're fine. But so I think this is a good way to close us off. So it's not to say that we're against long games. It's just that this is the case for short games. You know, we want to give recognition to like those developers that just give you a short burst, a concentrated story experience where you can replay over and over again and not feel guilty about not finishing it. It's not like you have a really long game and you just feel guilty that like, oh man, I still haven't beat it. I don't know when I'm going to beat it. Whereas a game that's only takes 5 hours to beat, like Hue, then you can just say like, oh, I can beat it tomorrow if I want to. I can beat it on my weekend. Or if you have kids, I can beat it in 2 weeks. But basically, but that's the thing. It's short bursts and you can just like go through it and just have a really good time, a really concentrated story. And it's not a lot of time invested when you have zero time.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we listed out some recommendations for you, but definitely go check them out. But also, like, you know, get some of your friends' recommendations too. Do you have any recommendations of a good short story?
I don't play short games apparently.
Oh.
They're short by my standards apparently, but apparently I need to change how long I think a short game is.
Dang.
Because all my games are taking me a long time to finish and they're only like 10 hours.
But you do recommend The Sims 4.
I always recommend Sims 4.
Of course.
That would be considered a very long game. If you're trying to beat, like if you're trying to get all the trophies, it's a long game.
Yeah, true. So I think we can end our podcast here. What do you think? Yeah.
I think we're good.
Is the Floki taking a nap?
No.
Oh, he's awake?
Yep.
Nice. So thank you again for listening to this week's episode. We just want to shout out once again, you can follow us on Twitter at Gaming Groceries, or you can follow us individually. I'm at Ace the Grocer.
And I'm at Journey First.
You can also follow us on Instagram, Games and Groceries, all one word. Check out our website, gamesandgroceries.com, where you can listen to all the podcasts on there. You can check out some articles that I wrote. I want to write at least one article per week, so do enjoy those. And on May 20th will be our episode 50 Ask Us Anything episode. So please submit your questions, either tweet at us using the hashtag GG50, or you can email your questions at gamesandgroceries@gmail.com, and we'll answer as many questions as you want. And yes, if you're a friend of the show, I have been asked, like, oh, Adam, like, I listen to you, we're buddies. Is it okay if I submit a question, or do you want strangers to? If you're a friend, if you're a foe, if you're a stranger, it doesn't matter. Submit your questions. We really don't care. We'll answer it. Well, we do care because we love you so much. All right, so I think that's it. We thank you again for listening to this week's episode. We hope to have you back here for next week's episode, where we talk about Life is Strange Season 2, Episode 3, and our thoughts on it. So thank you again for listening this week. We hope you have a phenomenal week. Have a good one.
Bye.